All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Compassion Diaries. Thank you for tuning in again. I know it's been about, 3 weeks since I last launched an episode. I've had a couple guests that had to cancel out, but I am excited for today for my amiga who's here with me. I have Alex with us. What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Super excited.
I'm so excited. Thank you for coming on. It's such an honor to have you. I can't wait to hear your story. Can't wait for our audience to hear your story. Just truly inspired by all that I've been able to witness you do in your life.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I'm really inspired by you, and I saw this setup, and I've seen your other podcasts, and just you're the best. You're awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm the honored one.
Oh, not even. Thank you, Alex. That means a lot. So what you been up to this week?
Man, just busy.
Yeah.
Lifing.
Right? Always life.
It's always the kids, work, the gym,
Yes.
social life, balancing everything. Doing the best that I can,
Oh, and you're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have a competition coming up?
I was going to compete this month,
Okay.
but right now I'm probably delaying that.
Oh,
there's a
got
lot.
it.
There's a lot that goes into it when you're competing.
Sure.
So you got to make sure that all your stats are good.
Got
It's a
it.
lot. But,
Okay.
So we'll see. Maybe later this year I might, but I'm still training. I'm still training.
That's
similar.
good.
'Cause
Yeah.
I do have a goal in 2 weeks that I want to hit.
Okay.
So not stopping that.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that journey in
Yeah.
just a second in our questions here. But yeah, Alex and I met at work. We're both on the board together with what we call a BRG group with Adelante, right? So she was my boss pretty much for the group. And I remember you recruiting me saying, hey, I'm interested in coming up to the board, and you interviewing me this one time. And yeah, from there, our relationship grew and stuff. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, you're doing an amazing job, and it's funny because I remember that I met you at one of our business resource groups. That's what they call it,
Yeah.
through work,
Uh-huh.
which is it's a group that's tailored to empower Latino employees, right,
Yes.
to progress in their career or whatnot. So we do a lot of
Yes.
workshops for them and volunteer events. And I just remember meeting you at an event. I don't remember exactly what event it was, but I just remember seeing your smiling face. I'm like, man, she gives us such good positive vibes, and you just know when somebody's genuine, right, and authentic, and just when I met you, just seeing that smiling face, I'm like, yeah, she's something else. And then just
thank you,
hearing the
Alex.
credibility about you from other people, I just knew that when you
Wow.
joined our board, it would be an awesome fit, and you just give good vibes. We always want to be around people that give good vibes. So
Yeah.
we love having you.
Oh,
And you're
thank
gonna,
you.
and so Melissa, you're gonna be on the panel for one of our events coming up in a
Nervous.
few weeks. So we're gonna hear Melissa's story. They're in the organization, so we're very excited about that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for just believing in me from the beginning, right? And yeah, I mean, I try to just leave everything at the door when I go to work or any events, right? And I just try to be that light to everyone that I'm around. So thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It's a gift you have.
Thanks, Alex. So let's take it from the beginning, right? Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Yeah. So, I was born in Mexico.
Oh,
So a lot of people
I
don't
did
know
not know
that. Yeah.
this.
So I'm an immigrant. But I came here very early on as a baby.
Okay.
So my early childhood, I spent some time in the LA area,
Okay.
and also in the Inland Empire.
Okay.
I actually grew up in a separated family, so I
Okay.
spent most of the time with my father,
Okay.
and the rest of the time with my mom. So I would go between LA and Inland Empire. But then in my later childhood, my father moved us to Arizona.
Okay.
So I spent, the later part of elementary school, and then my high school, and then eventually college in Phoenix.
Really?
So I went to Arizona State University, and technically my second. I worked for a small mortgage company for a few months, but then my full-time job after that was actually at Chase Bank. And I'm actually celebrating this month. It's 20 years ago that I started at the bank that I'm at still
No.
today.
Are
So,
you serious?
Yeah, it's 20
It's
years.
been 20 years.
This month.
Girl, you probably started when you were a baby.
Yeah, right out of college. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it, and we're here.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
so really cool.
Are you allowed to talk about what you do for Chase?
So I just work with mid-sized companies, and I'm the relationship manager, and just
Yeah.
advise them on their monies and how to I could support them to grow
Yeah.
their business.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love
Well,
it.
happy 20 years.
Thank
Happy
you.
2 decades.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
is incredible. So this was before you even had kids.
Oh yeah, this is like right out of college. Yeah, I
Wow.
was thrown out there in the woods, and I started off as a banker in a branch in a small
Okay.
town in Phoenix
Yeah.
area, and yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I thought when I first got into banking, I was like, how? Because I got my degree in broadcast journalism. I wanted to
Really?
write news, and I interned for like a year and a half at a radio station and a TV station
Wow.
there in Arizona, and I got my degree in broadcast journalism, and I went to banking. I don't know how that happened, but it worked.
It's funny. God always has different plans
Yeah.
for us, huh?
Yeah,
But man, you stuck it through.
I stick it through.
Wow.
And I think for me, the reason that I like doing what I do is because I still working with people.
Yes.
I'm essentially helping people, right? I'm
Yeah.
helping businesses grow their business, and both my parents are entrepreneurs, and they had their business growing up, so I was always
Yes.
around entrepreneurs. And so to me, when I'm talking to clients, I feel like I'm talking to my mom or my dad.
Oh, I love
So
that.
to me, it's just natural.
Yes. Well, speaking of your mom, she's so beautiful, just like
Aw,
you.
thank you.
Yes.
My mom's amazing.
What does she do? Because I saw you recently post of
Yeah.
her side gig, or is that her main?
Yeah, my mom is like, I don't know how she does it. So
Oh.
first of all, my mom's an immigrant as well. Okay, so she came
Wow.
here long ago, didn't
Okay.
speak one word of English,
Really?
and somehow early in the 80s, she managed to go to cosmetology school and open up her own beauty salon. So she's
Wow.
had it more than 35 years now.
Okay.
In LA area, but so she's been a hairdresser, owning her own salon for that long.
Okay.
But over the years, especially probably over like the last 5 years or so,
Uh-huh.
she wanted to do more. Right,
Uh-huh.
she was starting to get to the point where she was working only in the salon a few days, and then the business was running itself with everybody there.
Okay.
And so she wanted to establish her own beauty product line.
Wow.
So she found a lab, she had her ideas, and she bottled and produced her own hair care products, sold them to salons. And now she, besides the hair salon, another part of her business is being an entrepreneur and developing her own product line and being a distributor.
What's the name for her line?
It's Elvida, Elvida. So there's a
Ooh.
website for it.
I was gonna say, where can we find her?
So she sells the product to hair salons. So she's amazing. Like, and she speaks obviously better English now.
Yeah.
She's just done so much, and she's done so much obviously from the help of others, but really on her own, like figuring it out and learning. And for me, like, there's so many people that it's a struggle to even get to phase 1, and she's already in phase
Look at
100.
that.
So she inspires me every day, and she's the most selfless person that I've ever met in my whole life. My mom will pull off the shirt from your back to give it to you if you need it. So she's super humble, like probably the most amazing person in the whole world.
I love
I
that.
love my mommy.
Oh my gosh. So do you use her products too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Alvida. No,
Hey.
promoting now. No, just kidding. No.
Oh, I love it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I should have brought you.
Yes,
I'll
please.
bring you a little goodies.
Okay, yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
to try her products.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so you grew up in Arizona. You started working for our company, gosh, for 20 years. You are a mother. Do you want to talk about that? You're a mom. You have two beautiful girls.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I have two girls, teenage now. My oldest, Mia's 16.
Uh-huh.
She is a junior in high school. She's very independent little girl.
She's your twin, by the way.
She's my mini me. She she has a job.
Wow.
When she turned 16, she's like, Mom, I want to work and earn my own money so I can buy my own, makeup and
Yeah,
hair,
clothes
like,
or whatnot.
yeah, clothes. I'm like,
Wow.
perfect. So she got a job. She's working now. We got her a car for her birthday, which she pumps her own gas, gets her own gas. Okay.
Wow.
With her own money. We got her driver's license. She's gets amazing grades. She's in tennis. She's in track. She's in a leadership class, which she just got on the board for senior year. So
Wow.
she's doing a lot. I feel like she's already moved out, by the way.
Because she has all these events going on.
Yeah, she's like, Mom, I'm going here. I'm like, okay, just making sure, like, I need to know when she's going to be back or whatnot.
Yes.
And I follow her and I track her location to make sure she's okay. But
For those crazy moms.
always got to make sure I know our daughter's out.
Definitely.
So she's my oldest. And then I have a beautiful 12-year-old. That's my baby.
Yeah.
And Eva, she's more my creative child. So she loves, and she's amazing at it. She loves to draw.
I love that. So she's an artist.
She's an artist, yeah. Even when she was a baby, she's, she wanted to take guitar lessons when she was younger, which she did. She did art school. She, some of her art drawings have been in part of the school, like art festivals and things like that.
They would have it up there to show, to display.
To display her art. Wow. So that's like, she's like my creative baby. She doesn't like sports, so she's like the opposite.
Yeah.
So, and she's this, she's my sweet one. She's the one that writes me, she'll write me like a 4-page love letter.
I've seen you post this, like Mother's Day or Valentine's.
It's like she's just very expressive with her heart about a lot of things, and she's this more shy or timid. So it's funny because both are very distinct and different. But both are amazing in their
like own creative way.
Yeah, in their own way. Wow. And then a lot of people don't know, but I also have a stepson.
Okay.
I helped raise him since he was 2.
Okay.
He's actually going to be 21 this month.
Wow.
So, he's was part of my life since, again, he was 2. And although he didn't live with us, we spent a lot of time with him. So sometimes when people ask me how many kids I have, I always include him. So I say 3. So I was a stepchild growing up. I know what it's like. And I have the most amazing step parents. And I always wanted to do the same for him. So I have a good relationship with him. And so it's 3 of us, 3 kids.
Oh, I love your heart, Alex. That is beautiful. I almost forgot that you had a stepson. I remember one day we were going to an event out in Temecula, so we spent time in the car just getting to know each other. Remember that conversation?
Cool. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that because then I got to know you more in a like intimate way, I think. Right? So how is it like being a mother? I mean, I've seen like how you raise your kids and I admire it so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, first of all, it's the biggest blessing. Okay?
Yes.
Being a mom, to me, showed me that it's my purpose, right? To have these beautiful babies that I'm essentially molding to who they are going to be when they're older.
Right.
And that's the exciting, beautiful part of it, right?
Yeah.
And, as they're getting older, it's funny because I always thought that it would be easier to raise kids when they're older, and that it would be hard when they're young, right? Because they're doing the diaper change, the feedings or whatnot. But it's actually much harder as they get older. Because for me, because then their personalities develop. They start making their decisions. And at that time, it's like they're still minors, so I make the main decisions for them. But I have to let them start opening up and sharing, their opinions and decisions, and because eventually, they're gonna move out and build their own lives. So now it's trying to balance to make sure that I'm still, setting the rules, but opening it up for them to give their suggestions. And sometimes they're not in agreement.
Right.
So it could be harder, every day I'm like, am I making the right decision or choice in what I said or what I'm, want them to do or not do or whatnot. So I think it's actually a little bit harder now, but, but it's definitely a blessing,
Yes.
And, right now I'm technically a single mom. So, I am luckily, they have their dad that, is in their lives or whatnot. But, in the household, it's me and then my 2 girls right now. And so 3 girls, we're figuring it out.
Yes.
And, we're doing the best that we can. So.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Right. Because I've been able to witness that journey from when you're going through your divorce, right, to now just having your daughters with just you, but you're doing it so gracefully, but with so much power within that you could tell that your girls appreciate all the hard work and all that you're blessing them with, in their upbringing. And you could tell that they're appreciative of their mom.
Oh, thank you.
Right? Even the little things, like I see that you have all their friends over at your house, right? Versus them going out, right? You're like, no, you guys come to our house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can have fun with you guys too at the same time, but then hold you guys accountable too, right?
Yeah, no, and I love it. It brings a lot of energy to the house, a
Yeah.
lot of, love and excitement, and
Yes.
you know, I love being part of the mix. I love hearing all their
Yeah.
stories, their high school stories. Or like, mom, I'm like that mom. It's like, like, so tell me about your day. Tell me about that boy.
I
Tell me
love it.
about like, and so,
Yeah.
but it's fun. I wouldn't want it to have it any other way, right? Like,
Mm.
and the kids that come to our house,
Yeah.
I've developed a strong relationship with them and their parents as well.
That's good.
And I want their parents to always know that their kids are safe.
Yes.
They're at home with me, and which I know
Right.
that they do.
Right, right.
But I want to have those beautiful memories, so when my kids do get older and
Yeah.
they leave the house or whatnot, they can always say,
Yes.
"Man, we had a good time there," with
Yeah.
mom, and
Making
she
those
took
memories.
making those memories. She took care of us. So yeah, I love it.
I love that. And when you're with the girls, I'm like, man, she looks like their age. It's crazy.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we have a lot of
yeah.
fun. So
I
cute.
love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Alex, do you want to talk about your journey from, when you were married and the season that you're in and how you survived that, where you're at now?
Yeah, yeah, I know. We can do that because that's been a very significant part of my life over the last few years.
How long were you married for?
So I was married for, so we were together for 17 years,
Okay.
but only married, I believe, like 13 of those years, 12 or 13 of those years.
And sorry, he had a son already when you
Yes.
guys. Okay.
Yes. So
Got
I
it.
met him. He was actually previously married.
Okay.
He was divorced already. And he had
Okay.
a 2-year-old son.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
So that's how we met in Arizona.
Okay.
And we dated and had our first daughter pretty shortly thereafter.
Okay.
And then we kind of did it backwards, which my dad was not the happiest about.
Oh.
But we had my daughter. We moved here. We bought a house,
Okay.
and then we got married.
Got it.
And then after we got married, we had our second.
Got it.
So we were together for a very long time.
Yeah.
I kind of grew up with him. I met him in my early 20s or whatnot.
Okay.
And when when you get married, obviously you want to be married forever.
Yes.
Like for me, there's nothing more than I wanted in my life than to be married forever.
Right.
Like that was, especially because I come from a separated family.
Right. Yes.
I wanted different for my life and for my
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
And I was super determined to have that, like
'Kay.
whatever it took.
Okay.
And there was obviously every marriage has issues and problems.
Yeah.
And I think a majority of them you could work through, and it was always like divorce was not an option. Right.
Okay.
But I think it takes two people
Yep.
to make it work, right?
Yeah.
And there's just certain things that didn't happen that
'Kay.
I would have wanted to change, that ultimately said, like, there was just a breaking point where it, unfortunately that it had to end.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when that decision was made,
Okay.
it was very, very difficult. I was embarrassed, honestly. One,
Okay.
because that was actually a big one that I probably don't talk about, because, from the outside in, people thought that everything was like perfect and great, which, by the way, that's never the case, right?
Right.
People have things going on in their homes that they don't really talk about.
Right.
And so just to get to a point where I had to let my family know, or certain friends, like, hey, this marriage is ending, like, it was devastating,
Mm-hmm.
And that part was like kind of like probably the most difficult in the beginning, just like, how do I share this?
Okay.
And then obviously the sadness that took in that my best friend and I were no longer going to be together,
Okay.
and what that meant. So the whole process was very sad,
Okay.
very confusing. There was obviously anger in there. There was a lot of grief,
Okay.
something that I never thought in a million years, and I didn't learn about, because when I was going through that process, I was doing a lot of research, like, the way am I feeling? Is this normal?
Okay.
And something that stood out was that I was going to experience grief, or that's what I should be experiencing. It was like
Wow.
somebody passed away.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly how I felt. Like, I literally felt like my spouse died.
Okay.
It's the most awkward thing in the whole world. And so the grief that comes with it is probably the most intense feeling.
Got it.
So that was horrible. And it's almost 2 years since we separated. And honestly, I'm still healing from it.
Okay.
A lot better since day one.
Okay.
But it's a a long process and it comes in waves and roller coasters. But apart from that, over time, then I start feeling, the more calmness, the
Okay.
easiness, the peacefulness.
Okay.
So it's just, then that's the healing process. Um, there's a lot of things that have happened in between that time that helped me get through it.
Okay.
Some of it's that fitness journey, which we can talk about.
Yeah.
And honestly, the other part is prayer. Like I have never talked to God as much as I have talked to during that time in my life.
Wow.
And that I talk to God more than I talk to my mom or my family about this. And that has like given me like the strength, like it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Things are happening for a purpose, and
Right.
God knows what it is, and I'm
Right.
gonna entrust in him.
Oh, I love that.
So
Yes.
those are the two things that have helped me survive, I think, during that time and until to now.
Okay. For those that are listening, Alex, did you ever or were you ever open to like counseling or therapy?
Yeah, of course. So yes, so I actually have taken therapy, and I'm still doing it.
Good.
Luckily, my work gives us
Yes.
really good
Thank God for
benefit.
EAP, no?
Yeah, we get some
Good.
really good benefits where we get therapy
Good.
provided through work.
Okay.
And actually have provided it to my daughters as well. So
Oh,
both of my daughters
good.
have been through that.
Okay.
Not through just that, but also through school.
Oh, okay, good.
Some of the schools do provide therapy for your children,
Right.
depending upon what is bullying or whatnot.
Okay.
In this case, they went through a traumatic event.
Yeah.
So they've both been in that. I talk to my daughters a lot.
Yeah.
We have our own internal discussions at home. It's funny because, like I had mentioned earlier, I don't know what it is, but for me, which I know I should, but
Okay.
I haven't talked about it as much until recently
Oh.
with like my mom or like my sister
Really?
or certain women in my life, especially
Okay.
ones that have been through it.
Okay.
I have had some discussions, but they've been more like short or high
General.
level.
Yeah.
And for me, which is probably not the best thing, but it was okay for me, is I dealt it with more on my own and internally, and again, just talking to God or whatnot.
Yeah.
But as of more recently, I've opened up to certain important people in my life, about especially women in my life.
Okay.
I've been through it, and even my brothers. I think I just had to be ready to
Right.
to really dig into how I felt.
Sure.
Like everything said was high level, like, oh, I'm mad about this or I'm mad about that, but not really like what was going on in my gut deep down
Yes.
inside.
Yes. Well, thanks for sharing that, right? Because I'm kind of like you, where if I go through something, I kind of just keep it internally as well. I think I was just kind of raised that way. Recently in my community, I've learned to kind of speak up of things and allow people to go into that safe space, if that makes sense, right? But I'm sorry to hear about your divorce. I
Thank
too
you.
went through that. I believe that God allows things to happen for a purpose, like what you said. And it's interesting how God works, because He allows these things to happen so that we could draw closer to Him. Because if things are good, sometimes we don't pay attention or ever talk to God,
Yeah,
right?
no, I agree.
Yeah.
No, because like you're right. Like I said, like before I, first of all, I've always had God in my life.
Yes.
Like as a kid, we grew up, went to church or whatnot, and since I was a kid, I prayed every night before bed. That's just
I
like a thing
love
I do.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
and if I can't
aw.
sleep, or if I'm trying to sleep and I can't, I'm like, oh, because I didn't pray. Like so, and I teach my
Oh,
daughters that. So sometimes we pray together every
I
night.
love that.
But it was always like a thing that you would just do before bed.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I do it throughout the day.
I
Like
love
I'll be
that.
driving somewhere to work, or
Yeah.
I had a bad day and I'll be sitting in my car or whatnot, and I'm like talking. Like it's not even it's praying, but to me
Yeah.
it's talking to God.
And that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm not ready to have a relationship or get into religion with God, because they think it's this like whole ordeal where it has to be a religion per se, right? But honestly, God just wants you to talk to, just like how we're talking. He just wants you to talk to Him. So I love that.
And the best part is like I know He's listening. Right?
Yes, always.
It's like I feel like I'm actually communicating with someone that I trust and that is
Yes.
that knows again what the purpose is, and I believe in and trust that whatever's going to happen is going to happen because we had that
Yes.
Conversation.
Oh, that's
It's like
beautiful.
it's the best, and to me, like, it's just so when I think you had asked me earlier about like the season I in my life.
Yes.
It's funny because I was talking to a friend yesterday, a friend that I've got to know really well for the last
Yeah.
year or so, and
Yeah.
I talked to them about like hey, what we're going to talk about today. And one of the questions that I know that you wanted to talk about was in the season I'm in, and I was trying to find the right word, and
Okay.
the words were popping out, and one came out, and I was like, yes. And I don't know why it stuck with me, but it was like a rebirth. But I wouldn't
Rebirth.
say it's a rebirth of me as a whole new person.
Okay.
But I think it's almost like the learnings from the experiences that I've had
Yeah.
to have more experience, a little
Got
bit more
it.
wise about my decisions, more reflective.
Yes.
So it's almost like, I wouldn't say improved, but like, a more experienced version
Yeah.
of myself.
Right.
Like who I've become now to who I was before is still me,
Yeah.
but there's just certain variations of myself that are different.
Yeah.
And
No,
and
that
I'm
makes
okay
sense.
with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I'm with you because my first marriage, I got married super young. I was 19,
Oh, yeah,
right?
you were
So,
really young.
yeah, I was really young and I didn't know nothing, right? Love is blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say. Um, so I could totally relate in that part. And then when I met my husband now, I don't know if I ever told you, we met online. So we kind of did what you did, like with your first is, we had Leo, then we bought the house, and then we got married, and then we had Kai. So it's funny how, like, talking to someone, you find, like, oh, wow, I can relate with
Yeah.
that person,
Yeah.
you know?
And you guys
Wow.
have a beautiful marriage, and you guys, and I think, I don't know, from your experiences that you've
Yeah,
had before, I'm sure that's helped you now in the relationship that you have now to know what you want and what's significant in your life,
definitely.
right?
Yes. I don't know if I told you, but my first marriage, I went through domestic violence.
Mm.
I was in an
Yeah.
abusive relationship. I was stuck in that for almost a decade. And, when I found my husband online, silly me, like, people are like, dang, you're going to look for somebody online, right? But I was naive. But I love how you talked about God and how your relationship with him, because he truly meets you where you're at, right? So he knew that Leo was going to be my husband, obviously, right? And he was just the complete opposite of my ex, someone very calm, someone that's not overly, like, controlling, like, just opposite of everything, right? So great listener. Like, he allowed me, it was okay to be myself, in other words.
Oh, that's the best part. When you can be
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah. No judgmental, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are beautiful together. Like, you guys are like the it couple. And you guys, like, I could just tell that. He's the right person for you, lets you be who you are. I mean, look at all these sunflowers. He has these,
He's
just
probably
sunflowers
so
everywhere. And most guys would be like, all right, but he's cool with it.
Yeah, he lets me decorate the house the way I want to.
I love it. It's cute.
Thank you, girl. But hey, it's hard work. It's not easy, and it's all by God's grace as well. Through my walk of faith, I've learned to be a more, I guess, I don't know what word I'm looking for, better wife, right? Because when Leo and I first met, I could still say I had bruises still from my first
Oh,
marriage,
wow. Yeah.
where I noticed those traits coming out of me to Leo, where I had to strip that off of me by just, you know, going to church and reading the Bible and finding a community of other friends and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And
that
that's the
wasn't
best part
easy.
because you do find a whole new community of people, right?
Yes,
That
definitely.
uplift you. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like I've lost, unfortunately, some relationships that I had when I was married,
Okay.
which, it's hurtful to think about.
Mm.
But in a way, I feel like some of those relationships that I lost were honestly to my benefit.
Yeah,
Right? They
that
didn't
makes
bring
sense.
value to my life.
Right.
Or, so now, like, I've obviously have a lot of the same friends or whatnot, but
Yeah.
I've developed, I think, a healthier mix of
I
friends.
love that.
And
Yes.
through the new relationships I have, through
Yeah.
the gym that I'm at now.
Right.
So, like, that's like part of like the whole rebirth. Like,
I love
includes
that.
the community as well that I'm surrounded with.
Oh, that's good, Alex. Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that, and getting personal to that level. Let's talk about your fitness journey,
Yeah.
right? So inspiring. Like, this girl wakes up at, like, I swear, 2 or 3 a.m. Which one is it?
No, I wake up at 4.
Man, what time do you go to bed at night?
So, okay, I try to get you know, 8 hours of sleep. Of
Yeah.
course, that doesn't work out. But you know, I try to get in bed at 8:30 and 9, and somehow I fall asleep
Good
like
for you.
9:30, 10. But
Yeah.
I try to get as much sleep as I can if I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wake up and I try to be at the gym by 4:30, and I
Wow.
usually leave there at 6:30.
Okay.
I'll tell you, all my energy's in the morning. So when I'm in
Really?
the morning, I'm like, all right, guys, let's go. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm super excited, and I don't even drink coffee. I don't drink caffeine. So people are like,
Really?
how do you have all this energy? I'm like, I have no idea. But turns nighttime or like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then I'm like slowly fading away. But I just got so used to going so early that my body just automatically wakes me up so early before my alarm even goes off at 4.
Okay. How long
And
have you been on this journey?
so, okay, so first of all, fitness has always been a part of my life in a
Got
sense.
it.
Like I've
Okay.
always worked out since I was 17. I remember I had my first gym membership at LA Fitness in Phoenix at 17, and I would work out through college and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But it was always almost like, okay, I'm going to the gym today, and it was like work out maybe like 2-3 times a week, if that. Go do elliptical or cardio, like
Yeah.
just and then eat like
Like
not
whatever.
whatever, and then go
Yeah.
back to the gym. Like it was just kind of that,
Okay,
right?
uh-huh.
And then over as I got older, it was like the boot camps and same thing. I'd go
Uh-huh.
to the boot camp, and then I'd go home and think I was eating healthy, but I was eating like pasta and chicken, like
Yeah.
So
Carbs and stuff.
which carbs are good, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Carbs are good. The right carbs. But it was always that. So I was always, you know, essentially, healthy in that sense, where I was
Right.
active and
Yeah.
eating okay, but I wasn't really as focused as I am now on it.
Okay.
So it's funny because in 2023, so sorry, let me back it up.
Okay.
A few years before that, so I think maybe like 2018, 2019,
Uh-huh.
I was going to this boot camp,
Uh-huh.
a private gym in Ontario, and there's a few girls that went there.
Uh-huh.
And there was this one girl who I would work out with all the time. And she was older than me. Back then I was like maybe 38, and she was like 43, 44.
Okay.
And she decided to do a bodybuilding competition.
Uh-huh.
Okay, where you go on stage and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And she did it for her 45th birthday. I still remember. So Lily, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you.
What's up, Lily?
And I saw her through that journey. I saw what she was eating. I saw the discipline that she was, engaged in to get to that. And then when I saw her do it, like she actually shared the journey of her going on stage. She looked amazing. And I was like, man, to me, that was one of the few times I was like, I was so thrown back and inspired by someone. I was like, man, you can do all that, especially at 45.
Yeah.
So I remember what I was like, I want to do that one day.
Okay.
Like that's going to be a bucket list thing. I didn't know when.
Yeah.
I just knew that I wanted to do it.
Okay.
And in my mind, it's funny. I was like, she did at 45,
Yeah.
maybe 5-6 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was like 2018, 2019. And then, years went by or whatnot. And then in 23, I was again, sitting there, going to the gym, like not too content with my progress. And I was like, that bodybuilding thing was still in my mind. And I was like, I just need to do more weightlifting, right? Because
Okay.
a lot of, especially women, I think we're so focused on cardio and doing
Yeah.
some light weights or whatnot.
Right.
But you know that your body composition changes when you actually do true weightlifting, like heavier weights or whatnot.
Okay.
So I just Googled. I remember sitting in my room Googling competition gyms or bodybuilding gyms or whatnot. And there was one that popped up in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
where
The
I
one
li-
you go to now?
Yeah. And it was Addicted to Fitness. And I looked at the pictures and I saw, a bunch of girls competing and men too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, perfect. This is a gym where you go to where they teach you like how to work out, eat correctly or whatnot. So I remember calling, I got a hold of the owner and like, yeah, come on in. Let's, come check it out, whatever. So I went to go check it out. And I remember sitting with Arlene. She's the owner who's like,
She's, oh my gosh.
she's probably been the biggest. If I hadn't met Arlene, honestly, I don't know where I would be today. And there's a reason for that. I get
Okay.
emotional, but
Yeah.
so I met her and I told her that my goal was to do a bodybuilding competition,
Yeah.
and I said I want to do it when I'm 45.
Uh-huh.
And this was 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I was like 40, and she's like 45. My girl, like, let's do it next year.
Okay.
She's like, but you got to get your body fat down.
Okay.
And I was like, thin,
Yeah, you're
skinny.
so-
Well,
yeah.
but back then too. And I was like, my body fat. I was like, man, and I was like, okay, because I didn't know anything about anything. And she's like, look, come in, let's work out. We'll give you a meal plan. Let's, change your body composition a little bit and, see if you can be ready to maybe do it next year or whatever.
Okay.
I was like, all right. So I took on that challenge. So I just listened to what they said. That's why you have to have a good coach,
Okay.
that knows what they're doing.
Right.
And so I listened to what they would tell me what I should not eat throughout the day, how to work out correctly, and I just followed them. And then I started working out there May 2023, and by November, my body composition started changing.
Wow.
It's not about losing weight, it's about losing body fat.
Got it.
Okay, because
Okay.
if you don't lose weight, that's okay. You could be building muscle because muscle weighs more than fat.
Got
So
it.
it's about just removing the body fat and growing muscle in your body.
Is that what they also call shedding?
Shredding is
Or shredding?
shredding is like cutting. So cutting your body fat. Yes.
Ah, got it.
So girls should not be paying attention too much to weight loss.
'Kay.
It's body fat loss.
Ah.
So I did that from May 23, and then around September or so, she asked me to be in their fitness calendar. And I was like, what? In your fitness calendar?
Yes.
Am I even fit yet? But for her to ask me, I knew that there was change that had happened because
Yes.
she wouldn't ask me to be in a fitness calendar if I
Oh
didn't
my gosh.
get to that point. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And so I accepted that challenge, super nervous about it.
Yeah.
And I remembered that day that I went to go do it, a lot of the girls there look amazing. I'm like, man, how am I going to, you know, be in the same, you know,
As them.
Like, they
Yeah.
look amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I remember going and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't, you know, and I did it. And the girls there are so motivating, inspiring, you know, like, you look amazing. You look great. I did the fitness calendar and it came out pretty cool. So I was
Oh
like,
my
oh
gosh,
man,
you
I
looked
could do this.
amazing, girl.
Thank you.
Yes.
So that was like the first big boost of confidence that I got.
Got it.
And not just confidence, motivation. Like,
Yes.
self, like, worth knowing that, like, man, I could do this.
Yes.
So it's almost like I had to be uncomfortable to
get comfortable.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, man, if I could do this, then I could keep going.
Right.
So then I did that, and then I was like, I'm going to keep on listening to my coach.
'Kay.
I'm going to keep on doing the same activity, which is consistency of eating a certain way and working out a certain way. That's
'Kay.
what discipline comes in, is being
Right.
consistent.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because some people will go to the gym and try it out and then go back to their old ways.
Right.
But if you're just consistent doing it, it takes a long time. It's progress. You don't change overnight or not even 30 days. That's super unhealthy. Like, it's going to take some time.
'Kay.
So around December of 2023, and remember I started in May,
Right.
I made myself a decision that I was going to compete. So
Wow.
I decided to compete in April.
Okay.
So I just kept on going.
Yeah.
And then, so it almost was like a whole year that I had started to the day that I competed.
Right.
And again, it was just that discipline and that consistency, waking up at 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
doing the workouts, clean eating, obviously avoiding alcohol
Yeah.
or, you know, any toxins in my body.
Right.
Everything natural, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Okay? People sometimes can,
Oh,
you know,
steroids or whatnot. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. For me, I believe in everything natural
Yeah.
and doing things the healthy way.
Right.
And so I competed in April. I reached my bucket list
Oh my
item.
gosh,
I went on
yes.
stage, super
Yes.
nervous.
Yes.
But I did it, you know, and I felt super grateful. I felt accomplished. I was on cloud nine because I was like, man, I did this, you know?
Yeah. Talk about the accomplishment. She's all being humble.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
So that day, I competed in 2 categories. One was true novice, which is like for first timers.
Oh.
And then I did a category by my age. So 40-year-old or older woman.
Okay.
So in the true novice, I ended up getting first place in my category.
Wow.
And then the 40 years and older, I got second place.
Oh my gosh.
So it was really, really cool.
Alex.
It was really cool.
That is so awesome. Just watching you during that time and seeing you got first place in that category blew my mind.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it was probably one of the biggest highs other than having my kids.
Yes.
But I will tell you, so kind of going back to the conversation that earlier.
Yes.
I think when I had Googled that gym,
Yeah.
and I met Arlene, and during that time, it was just such an interesting time. And like I said, like, I feel like there's a purpose for everything. And that timing was just the most insane amount of timing, because when I Googled it, I wanted to compete. I was looking for a challenge or something to do. And when I started going there and, following my coach, the discipline part of it. Obviously, it was making me physically stronger, right?
Okay.
I started building muscle.
Right.
You know, I was, getting leaner. My body fat was diminishing or whatnot, but it was also making me mentally stronger, right? My
Wow.
confidence level was getting up. I was like, man, if I can do this, there's a million other things I could do, right?
Yes.
And there had been problems in my marriage that I was trying to fix for such a long time. And it almost gave me some strength to approach those problems a little bit more differently.
Okay.
And throughout that beginning of the time up to like I was doing my calendar or whatnot, because you're in a clear mind when you're training like this, or you're disciplined about going to the gym, eating healthy, your mind actually clears up
It's
too,
clear.
super clear.
That's so
So
interesting.
you're more thoughtful about a lot of things. There's a lot of time to think, right? Because
Wow.
you're focused on your fitness, your health. You're on
Yes.
the If you're doing your cardio, even you're just thinking. There's a lot of thinking that you do, and there's communications I had with my ex-husband at that time, like, hey, we need to change some things for our marriage, and again, it was just one, there's not two of us working at it.
Okay.
And so it gave me the strength to own up to some problems, communicate through them, see if we can be fixed, make
Wow.
clear decisions.
Okay.
And when I had decided to end my marriage,
Uh huh.
it was devastating, right? Obviously
Yeah.
for everybody. And at that time, I went to my coach and I said, hey, I'm going through some really tough personal times right now.
Uh huh.
I don't know if I can continue, coming here and doing these things because I need to focus on
On
this.
that. Okay.
And she was like, no, no, no. She's like, this is what this is actually going to be better for you, right?
What you need.
Because what's going to happen is if you stop by this, right? Like
Okay.
you might go through that path of starting to get, depressed, maybe
Yeah.
start drinking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Going through that eating.
Not eating right.
Yeah, not eating right. Because
Yep.
people sometimes get that depressive eating
Yeah.
habits, and it's going to make you feel worse, and it's going to make everything worse.
Okay.
So she's like, I highly recommend you just continue,
Just push through.
push through or whatnot.
Wow.
And that helped me again through that divorce process so much better and healthier,
Oh my gosh,
physically and
Alex.
mentally. And when I went on stage and I felt accomplished, I was like, man, like that whole tough time that I was going through that divorce process or whatnot,
Yeah.
it could have been way worse, right? For
Right.
myself mentally.
Right.
And so just the timing of how everything worked out,
Yeah.
I think God had a purpose for me.
Absolutely.
And so,
I believe that.
it was definitely a interesting time and journey. And then since I competed, I continue still going there. I've made a great group of friends who are disciplined and like-minded.
Wow.
Which
Yes,
to
you got to
me,
surround
you got to
yourself
step
with
around
that.
people like that, right?
Yes.
These women there are getting up early like me.
Wow.
They have their jobs. They go to their mothers, all different age groups.
Wow.
When we go out, we're conscious about making sure that we're making the right choices. We're eating,
Yes.
obviously not drinking,
Right.
as before, as
Yeah,
excessive
yeah.
or whatnot. So like I said, just being around that community,
Yeah.
and then feeling good about yourself, right? Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's just not about the fitness journey to feel cute. I mean, obviously you want to, but it's
Yes, yes.
being healthy,
Yes.
right? As we get older, bone density gets worse.
Yeah.
So this is something like I want to be healthy for my kids and teach them good practices.
Oh,
I meal prep
yeah.
all the time, and it's funny because now my kids
Yes.
want my meal preps.
I love
And
that.
they try to meal prep themselves. I'm like, look, mom, I
Really?
got some chicken and some like, okay, cool. And
Yeah.
so it's like it's my kids are seeing what I'm doing, and I feel like it's teaching them good behaviors as well.
Yeah.
They see me getting up early in the gym. Now
Yeah.
they want to go for runs, and my little one, she's like, mom, I want to be buff too. And
Wow,
like
look
it's
at
cute,
that.
but to me it's important for my kids to see me in that light
Yes.
compared to what could not
Have
be.
been,
Yeah.
right? The opposite.
Opposite, yeah. So that's why this fitness part is so significant to me.
Yes.
And I'm just going to keep on going with it.
So it sounds like, Alex, you found your why behind this journey, right? Because we talked about people being inconsistent, right? We're 4 months in the year, which is crazy how fast time is flying. And the first 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, people are like, their New Year's resolution is to lose weight, eat right. But then I swear after a month or so, people
Yeah.
just fall off the bandwagon, right?
Yeah.
But you found your purpose, because I was going to ask you what kept you going, because I know that was hard work. Eating clean every day, and keeping toxins away from your body, waking up at 4 in the morning on top of working full time and all that you do. I was like, wow, how did you do that? But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I, well, for me, it's something that I needed, right, at that time,
yes,
because I was going through a lot. So to me, it's like it was an escape
right,
from a bad period of my time.
right.
Because when I would go to the gym, all that would go away, right? I
Wow.
would be there with other people, like-minded people,
Yep.
and be happy, right? I
Yes.
would be like, oh, we would challenge ourselves. There were so many times I see so many videos now, and I want to do a video of it one day,
Yes,
where I
please.
have somewhere I'm trying to lift a certain weight or do a certain
Okay.
machine, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this,
Okay.
and I'm like, all right, let me do the first one, and then I fail like two or whatnot, and
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you how many times certain trainers at the gym,
Uh-huh.
I would tell them, I can't do this. And they're
Okay.
like, yeah, you can. I'm like, no, like this is too heavy. There's no way I can't.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, you can.
Wow.
And they make me do it. And then I
Wow.
did it, and like, you just did it. Like
Oh my
it was that
gosh.
silly. And I was like, it's really like such a mind
Yeah,
thing.
mindset.
And mindset, it's insane. So it happened to me when I was doing pull-ups. I remember when I was doing a hip thrusting machine. I was like, I can. And like, yeah, you can. And so you just need that push, right?
Yes.
And it's a mind thing. Like literally, if you sit there and you're just like, I can, and then just like try your hardest to do it, knowing that you actually can,
right.
things will happen. The consistency part of it. There's there's a girl that I really look up to, Jen, if you're watching. She's a pro competitor now.
Uh-huh.
I was in awe of her. I always told her she was my muse because
Aw.
I saw her discipline. I saw her body transform.
Yes.
And she's beautiful inside and out, by the way. And actually, when I met her, she was going through a divorce too, so I felt like I could relate to somebody.
Okay.
And I told her, and one day I remember she was on the treadmill and I was next to her, and I was like, Jen, I was like, how do you do it? Like, teach me,
Yeah.
how can I be like you? This is before I did my fitness calendar,
Got
when
it.
I'm like, what can I do? I want to be you,
Yeah.
And she's like, it's a discipline. And
Wow.
it's funny because it's such a easy but hard word.
Yeah.
So like, okay, but now I get what she means, right? Like it's the consistency part of it.
Yes.
So when people start like in January, they have that
Right.
goal or whatnot. The reason I
Right.
think people fail
Okay.
is because they want to see results quick.
Faster.
And it's not. You ask anybody that does bodybuilding coaches way longer than me. I'm just like a newbie still.
Okay.
It takes years.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a very slow progress, but it's a healthy progress. When
Got
people are
it.
losing weight fast,
Yeah.
it's usually not healthy, right?
Got
it's not
it.
sustainable.
Okay.
You're starving yourself.
Yeah.
You're taking a pill. You're doing something that's a fad. It's something that just takes time.
Right.
So, and trust me, like there's been situations where I've haven't seen progress in a week or two, and I get discouraged. I
Yeah.
want to cry, and then I get reminded, and people remind me, like, it takes time. Like
Yeah.
you're doing the right activity, just give it time. And then I wait more weeks, and then I'm like, okay, there's the progress.
Then you see it.
So
Yes.
you have to give yourself grace and know that every day counts,
Okay.
and you just be as consistent as possible, and you're gonna get there.
That's
and trust me,
good.
day one
Yeah.
compared to day 180,
Right.
it seems like forever.
Okay.
But you're gonna be so grateful that you got there.
Right.
So you just gotta.
Oh, that's a
keep going.
good reminder. That's good. You're right. I didn't even think about that. People that are inconsistent, they don't see results right away, right? We live in such a world right now where it's like a microwave, right? Everyone
Yeah.
wants instant.
Instant.
Yeah.
No, there's no. That's,
Yeah, it's like a crock pot thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There's no such thing. You can't instantly.
Look at
It takes you
that.
all those years to be where you're at now that you're not happy with. It's going to take you that time or maybe longer to get the opposite.
Yes.
So, and you want to do everything healthy. The
Yes,
healthy
yes,
way.
natural and being patient. And like what you said too, right? Surrounding yourself with a community of people that could be there for you and tell you, yes, you can.
Yes. No,
I
Brittany
love
at the
that.
gym.
Brittany.
I keep on calling out people because
I love it, yeah.
Because these are the people that I meet in my
Yes.
community that
Yeah.
have changed me.
Yes.
Like Brittany, and she and I'm gonna tell these girls to watch this because I'm
Yes,
calling them
please.
out.
Yeah.
She's an example of a trainer there that I literally told her, like, I can't do this. She's like, yes, you can. I'm like,
See?
no, I can't. Like, I'm like, this is too much. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you're gonna do it.
Wow.
And then I
see,
do it, and she's like, see.
that
And
power
I'm
of
like,
encouragement, man.
Okay, I did it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I can do it. And then as we continue to work out and do things together, she's like, this last time you did this, now I want you to do this many more.
See?
So,
The
and
power of encouragement.
yes, encouragement,
Positive reinforcement.
positive
Yeah.
reinforcement. You know, it's just a great place. So you go community, community, community.
Yes, yes, yes. I can't agree more. I can't agree more, Alex. Wow. Talk about, because like we're both in our 40s, right? Did you feel a difference in your body? Like,
Yeah.
is that,
Well, I actually feel stronger now
wow.
than I did when I was in my 30s or 20s.
Okay.
First of all, I'm not an athletic person. Okay, I didn't play
Okay.
sports when I was younger. I was in dance.
Okay.
Okay, but I didn't like. I'm still not athletic, but it's funny because they refer to me an athlete.
Yeah.
When I went on
You
stage,
look
these
like
are
an
the
athlete.
athletes. I'm like, I'm an athlete. I never called an athlete in my life, but it is
Wow.
right because I
Yeah.
am there powerlifting,
Yes.
and lifting weights and changing my body or whatnot. It's a sport.
Right.
Um, Again, the mindset that I had in my 20s or 30s, I would always be like, oh, if I had coaches or trainers there, I'm like, I don't want to lift heavy weights. I don't want to look like a man.
Right, right.
Right? I would
Yeah.
say stuff like that. Oh, pull up. No, no way. Like I
Right.
was always thinking that way.
Okay.
And as I got older, I felt more confident in myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm wiser or whatnot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when people say push me and say yes you can, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Before I probably wouldn't even have tried.
Wow, look at that.
So I feel my best ever physically
See?
now.
So guys, there's no excuse out there. You could be in your 40s and doing this, right? You're speaking to me like I got no excuse.
Well, my coach Arlene, the one that I went in to the
Yes.
gym, that the one that told me to continue through this path through my divorce,
Okay.
because it would help me. She's 62,
She does not
and
look
she looks
62.
amazing. And there's girls in my gym that are in their 70s that compete. So to think of as an age as an excuse is not an excuse. People are gonna do what they want to do.
Yep.
You just gotta do it
Yeah. Yeah.
and stick to it. Consistency.
Yes,
Discipline.
that's it. And be patient, right? Just like what you
Patience.
said.
Patience.
I love that. Let me see. You brought a book, I see.
Oh.
What is this?
No, it's because it's funny because before I came, I had this by my nightstand,
Okay.
and when I tell you that I pray every night or whatnot, and that's what's get me through. There's like this little random book, and like the most random things can like really be changing. So changing is when I had first gone through that grief period of after my
Yes.
divorce and whatnot. I remember being at CVS, and I was like just not in a good state of time at the time. And there's this little random book that said 200 nighttime prayers for women. And it's like words for
Wow.
comfort, sweet, peaceful sleep.
Wow.
And I was like looking at it, I was like, I'm going to get this.
Okay.
I'll tell you, this little book right here
Yeah.
has literally been like the biggest blessing.
Wow.
Because there's so many times where I haven't been able to sleep, and like I literally read a nighttime prayer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just this book, but it's again just praying before you go to sleep.
Right.
Changes everything. Like
Wow.
it makes me literally going to bed resting, know that tomorrow's going to be a better day, and again that
Yes.
there's more to come.
Yes.
And the best part about it is I'll actually have my little one Eva. I've done it with my older one, but more so with my little one. I'll come in and say, okay, it's time to do prayer.
Yeah.
And she looks forward to reading this little book with me.
Does she?
And we read the prayer together, and she just sits there and like, let's do one more, Mom. So we'll do another prayer.
Aw.
And then I'll do my own prayer, and then she does her own prayer. And then, okay, give her a kiss. And I'm like, all right, time to go to bed. So that brings me and her closer together. But this little book, it's so funny. I'm like, this little thing I got at
love
CVS.
that. Yes, look at that, guys.
And it's like, this little book has done a lot for me, I'll tell you that.
I love that. I know. I saw that there. I was like, oh, I wonder what that
I
is.
love it. I know.
Find yourself a prayer book, right? God could meet us in our darkest moments and truly just talk to us, even through these prayer books, through these devotionals. So, Alex, I don't know if you noticed in my other podcasts, I always ask God, like, Lord, lead me to a scripture, a passage in the Bible that I could pray over my guest. And he is so faithful because every guest that has been on, it really tailors or ties into them. So he led me into a passage in the book of Psalm, and it's chapter 31, verses 14 through 15. And it says here, as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say you are my God, and my times are in your hand. So just like listening to you right now and all that you've been through and in your journey, I was like, wow, God, your hand has always and is always just upon Alex and her beautiful daughters.
I
And
love it.
yeah,
Yeah, amen. I love that one.
yeah.
Yeah,
So just want to
I love
remind you
it.
of his
Thank you.
faithfulness.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Was there anything you want to talk about? Anything else? Did you have any questions or anything else that we could have missed that maybe I forgot to ask?
No, I mean, more. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because we talked about it earlier when I got here.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to address it, I guess, now since we're having a little chat.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny because you're going to be on a panel for something that we're having at work, right?
Yeah.
And you said, I'm so nervous.
I'm so nervous.
Which I know you are. Because I remember when we asked you, you're excited about it, but
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, like I
Yeah.
can see in your face. Like, because I know that the event is going to be in person. It's going to be probably 100 people or so there. So
Yeah.
I don't want to make you more nervous.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you're nervous about it, but to do something like this
Yeah.
would be nerve-wracking for me.
Okay.
So how, what inspired you to do the Compassion Diaries?
Yeah.
And were you nervous in the beginning about doing something like this? Are you still nervous about it?
Okay.
And like, how is that potentially going to influence you doing the panel for us? Because
Okay.
to me, this is a huge stepping stone
Yeah.
to get to being on the panel.
Right, right.
So just like your thoughts around that.
Yeah, no, great question, Alex. So growing up, I always wanted to be a counselor, right? And kind of like you, I started with our company back in 2001. So over 20 years, right? Kind of grew up with the company and got married early, had kids really early. And I tried going to school, but school and having kids and working full time just didn't work out, right? So I was doing like a lot of TikTok videos, just spreading God's word. Because I always said, Lord, let it not be my words, but your words. Because truly, during my darkest moments, what helped me, because I used to be into horoscopes, zodiac signs. Like I would want to open up a fortune cookie just to see, what luck I could read. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And in my darkest moments, and I've had many darkest moments, like I always found comfort in God's word, like your prayer book, like your devotional. So I said, Lord, there's so much people out there who I want to help know your word, right? So then he placed in my heart, like, hey, start a podcast, right? So back in early 2000s, I had my own blog, my own YouTube blog, where I was doing videos about what I went through when I got divorced. And that's when YouTube really wasn't big. And then I took a pause on that. So long story short, he placed this in my heart like sometime last year. And when I talk to people, kind of like when you and I like connected, people just open up. And they always say like, Mel, it feels like I've known you for years. And that's just me listening,
You are a very good listener. I'm gonna tell you that. And it's funny because you did
Thanks.
remind me about that car ride.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about it until you said it right now, and I was like, I do remember. And you're right. I did open up to you so much, and we had just
Yeah.
barely got to know each other.
Right.
But I had so much comfort
Yeah.
in sharing it because, like you had said earlier about your husband,
Yeah.
but you're not judgmental either.
Mm-mm.
And I truly feel like at that time when I was sharing things with you, I felt like you genuinely cared about the position I was in at that time, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanted to help. I remember at that time you had offered me to go to your church.
Yeah.
You also gave me a devotional book, by the way, which
Yeah.
I am reading as well.
Uh-huh.
But for somebody to go out of their way
Yeah.
and listen and offer a resource
Wow.
says a lot. So again, you have a gift and a blessing about that. I just wanted to share that because
Thank
that
you,
meant a
Alex.
lot to me that day.
Wow.
I remember leaving that car ride and I just felt a closeness to you.
Wow.
Because it's really rare to talk to somebody and feel like they're not just like listening, understanding,
Yeah.
but like care enough to want to take an extra step and help in some way that they can. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. That meant a lot to me.
Oh, thank you, friend. Like, yeah, like all glory to God. That's one of the gifts he's given me. And I've been through so much in my life that he's humbled me to not brag or boast or show off, like he's humbled me and brought me down to earth. So yeah, no judging at all. But yeah, so then the word compassion, I had a Bible study group called Compassion, right? Jesus is compassionate. Why diaries? Because everyone has a story. Everyone has a diary to tell. So for Christmas, my older son bought me this equipment, and he said, "Mom, it's time. You got to start in 2025." And I was super nervous. I was like, "Dude, there's no way, you know?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, who's gonna come on?" And I was like, "Well, shoot, okay, let me just start asking friends." A lot of friends were like, "Okay, well, come on," and it just started adding up from there. A lot of people are nervous, right? But kind of like what you said, if you tell someone, like, everyone has a story, if you
Hmm.
give them that encouragement, and we come on, they're nervous, but then we just start talking, and yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Because with you saying everybody has a story,
yeah,
what I love about that is because someone sometimes can relate to that story, right? And feel
yes,
like they're not alone or the only one.
right,
And so, to me, like, that's important, right? Is I'm seeing somebody's stories. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can share something with them because they experienced something similar. Like with me, knowing that you have been divorced before,
yeah,
and now you found this, beautiful life with this, your new partner and your
yeah,
family, like gives me
yes,
hope.
there's hope out there,
So that makes me feel good to know, like you've been there,
yeah.
and there's potential for me.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. That was a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, of course, of course. But thank you for having me. You're
Yes,
you're
thank you
awesome. You're
for being
amazing.
on. Thank you. So are you, friend. I look up to you in like so many ways.
Oh,
Your story, I pray that it blesses millions out there listening, right? Gosh, if Alex could do it, anyone could do it, right?
thank
Thank
you,
you for being so humble.
thank you.
Thank you for your heart. Thank you for, what you do as a mom every single day, right? And just for being such a loyal friend to so many others out there and being a great coach from work to your fitness journey, all of that. So keep up the great work,
Yeah,
Alex.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I love
Yeah.
you. You're awesome.
Yeah.
You're
Thank you
so
for
sweet. I
coming
love her.
on.
I love it.
Oh, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Alex. So everyone, thank you again for tuning in. Truly appreciate you guys just tuning in with every guest that I have. If this story has touched you, I encourage you to please share it to others, right? Life isn't meant to be done alone. Life isn't meant to be isolated, right? We are truly meant to just share life with others, right? So, remember guys that, God is faithful. Be encouraged and God bless.
Bye.
Bye.